The Jim Henson Hour was a show in 1989 and was the last show Jim Henson produced before he passed away in 1990. The show only lasted for 12 episodes, but only 9 of the episodes were ever aired. Reason being, well, Jim always said it was because of how NBC handled the show. And looking at other things NBC has done over the years, that doesn't really surprise me. Now, I've already reviewed a few segments from the Jim Henson Hour in previous videos, but I'm going to be looking at the actual series. Now, even though it got low ratings, it earned 6 Emmy nominations, but unfortunately, critics were quite harsh on the show. But all these years later, is it really such a bad show? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. Now, why am I here on this bridge? I don't know. I just am. Welcome to the Henson Hour Vlogs. Hello everyone, I'm Joshua Gillespie and I'm not on a bridge anymore. Welcome to the first episode of the Henson Hour Vlogs. Now, before I begin, I want to explain the format of the Jim Henson Hour. It's split up into 2 half-hour segments, the first being Muppet Television and the second being The Storyteller. I'll be focusing on the Muppet Television segments, and a friend of mine will be talking about The Storyteller. So, let's talk about Muppet Television. Basically, Kermit, Gonzo, and a cast of new Muppets. We've got Digit, Vicky, Leon, Clifford, who would later go on to be the host of Muppets Tonight, Bean Bunny from The Tale of the Bunny Picnic, and Waldo C. Graphic, who most of you will recognize from Muppet Vision 3D. Their job is to pick and choose things that they think we'll enjoy, all centered around a certain theme. There's also a guest star and a variety of things going on. The best way to describe it is, it's like being backstage in the Muppet Show and then occasionally cutting to what's on stage. Oh, and there's a story going on. So, let's look at the first episode, Outer Space. The story is, Digit is picking up TV signals from outer space, and it includes some pretty weird stuff.
Shh, Kermit, the Glintstroff is loose. Oh, Lord, he's picking up the cupcakes. Don't open the door.
But unfortunately, he gets too much power, literally, and he starts going crazy.
Lucy, I'm home. And here's bachelor number 2. One of these days, Alice. Pow, right in the kisser.
So Kermit, Waldo, and Lindbergh have to go inside of him to help solve the problem. And the guest star is Louis Anderson. What does he contribute to the episode? A couple sketches, and he's just kind of there. So what do I like about this episode? Well, let me get a few things related to the show in general out of the way. I love the theme song to this show. It's just so catchy and enjoyable. It has somewhat of a relaxed but still chaotic Muppet feel to it. It's great. Also, the special effects. Occasionally you can see like little jitters of stuff and the outlines around them, but for 1989, this isn't bad. And, you know, Jim was always ahead of the times with technology and how he used it, and stuff like Waldo, it's incredible, and it's a shame that so many people missed out on seeing this stuff. And one last thing about the show, the videos in the background. Go back and look at some of the things being shown on these TVs. You've got like the IBM Cookie Monster sketch, you've got Sam and Friends, Sesame Street, just a whole, it's a variety show in itself. And it's a cool little Easter egg that will make you want to go back and just see what you missed. Now for the episode itself. The story is... it works. I like that they don't have to introduce the characters like, hey, it's this guy, he does this. Hey, it's that person, they do that. It's just sort of like, you learn about the characters by watching them. You don't need a full biography on them. And having Kermit and Gonzo there really does help. Now, as for the sketches, it's kind of hit and miss. But thankfully in this episode, there's a lot more that hit. Starting with the Extremes singing Doing the Neutron Dance. It's always fun to see Muppets from head to toe, and in this we get a whole group of them, these crazy, well, extreme looking characters, and they're just jumping around, screaming and singing, and it's a lot of fun. It reminds me of something you'd see out of the Muppet Show, like, oh, we got these guys, they're called the Extremes. Oh, that sounds pretty normal. Ah! You know? Alright, but what else? The War and Peace sketch, it's so short, I can just show you it right now.
Count Leo Tolstoy's classic novel, War and Peace. This week, Part 1, War. Tune in next week for Part 2, Peace.
I don't know how to explain this, but I just like how this is done. How it's not like Part 1, War. Part 2, Peace. You know, they could have just easily done something like that and it wouldn't have been as funny. Now, finally getting to Louis Anderson. He has 2 sketches in this episode. One of them is a hit, one of them's a miss. But the one that really hits is the Space Guy sketch, where he is a alien in outer space who leads a team of lobsters, but then they get taken over by Bean Bunny and his ragtag team of bunnies who are wanting to make the whole world cute. And lastly, the closing number. This has such a Muppet Show vibe to it. The, oh gosh, what are we gonna do? We don't know what to do. What are we gonna do? Let's just do this. And just jump right into it, you know. Just, I love that. And it's so random and so not with the theme of outer space, but also so with the theme of outer space. It's fantastic. Just, again, one of the highlights of this episode and what makes this episode so enjoyable. But unfortunately, there is some bad stuff. The biggest thing, and this goes for the whole show overall, is the lack of Frank Oz. Frank was off directing and doing other things, so he couldn't be a part of it. He does stuff here and there, but he doesn't perform any major characters. And it really shows. There's a reason why he's considered the greatest puppeteer of all time. And it's not that the other performers do a bad job. That is definitely not the case. They do a fantastic job. It's just Frank's comedy skills, it's just, when it's not there, it's very noticeable, and I feel like a lot more punchlines could have been delivered, a lot more good punchlines, if he had been a part of the show. Speaking of punchlines that don't hit, the sketches that just aren't funny, first of all, Louis Anderson's first sketch, what is it, My Date with Godzilla, something Godzilla. Basically, it's your typical, oh, it's a scary giant monster, but this person's acting totally calm around it. I get the joke, but it just kind of falls flat. Also, the intergalactic beauty pageant. Jim had a philosophy of, why tell the audience we did something when we can show them? And this sketch really doesn't show, it just tells. It's like, oh, remember when you lit your nose on fire? Yeah. That was something you did, and then we're gonna announce the winner. Oh, she ate everyone, but we didn't see it. The end. Oh well. But even with its problems, I still enjoyed it. I got a few laughs out of it, and after hearing people be like, oh, this show's terrible, oh, it was so bad. It's not, or at least this first episode isn't. And I recommend that you check it out. Thank you for watching.